My brother, yeah, you gotta know. We the light, let it show. I walk around, my eyes closed. Yeah, I'm walking in faith, the disciple. And I worship my Lord, ain't no idols. Why I run for this faith, not a title. I don't know. He came and saved my life, and I know he paid the price. Spirit of God, it guides me right. Spirit of Christ inside me day and night. And I want everybody to know him. If I gotta proclaim that I'm for it, even though that I'm living in motion, I'm gonna live on this rock with devotion. So you know that I'm doing my thing. Pull out, you know that I'm doing my thing. I trust in my Lord and Savior cause he saves. I trust in my Lord and Savior, he the way. Even though I don't deserve to be saved, even when I call upon his name, I'm unworthy, they're calling his name, yeah. I got that light and I'm letting it shine. Every day I'm just getting to the grind. You know that I'm never wasting my time. You know I'm really attached to the vine. Waking up, I got my God on my mind. You know I'm never getting left behind. All the glory going to Adonai. The way that you sinning is really a crime. I go to war with the enemy. I got my flows and you know I got melodies. I got my father, you know that he heavenly. I just wanna do what he really telling me. Used to be sinning back then like a felony. Never cared what they was telling me. Remember the day I repented. When I told him I'm sorry, I meant it. And he turned my life around, he bent it. Yeah, my mind was totally demented. Demented, yeah, he meant it. Yeah, my Lord and Savior, he ascended. All the pain, suffering, he ended. And he kept it real, no pretending. And you know he really just ascended to the right hand of the Father.
Jerusalem, I see, you giving sight to the blind, my king.
Hey, we got Tech Boy in the building. What's going on, Tech Boy? Hold on. You running a lot right now. Wait a minute. Tech Boy says I'm running for president. Hey! Got endorsed by NBT, so that's not. Wait, not the B? Oh, I don't know what NBT is then. Said my mom found out about Allie. All press candidates in school are the same because they all want freedom, making them right-wing, even though some are pro-aborts. My person running against me has a party called Mega, called Make Energy Great Again. MBT is a tech. Oh, I got you. So that's another tech YouTuber. Hey, bro. Well, I hope you win, bro. I hope you got this. I hope you win. Y'all already know I got a whole new setup. But we could talk about it in 1 to 2 minutes. Go get your snacks, go get your drinks, go use the bathroom, do what you gotta do. Cause I'm back, baby.
I'm in a solar power state and I'm melanated by grace. Who knows? Today could be the day he blows the trumpet in our face. Could be the end and then beginning like Esau and Jacob. It'll be the beginning of the end once we decide to wake up. Stop pulling these capers, chewing on razors, touching up faces like makeup. Back to the basics, throwing on Asics, dipping on Satan, running amok. My father the greatest, creator of the sun that's above. Got too many haters. You hate cause it's the shade that you love. Don't do me no favors. My faith is in the rock of ages. When I'm on these stages, I'm faceless. He get all the praises. Salute. What you making in the sky, my king? Is that New Jerusalem I see? You giving sight to the blind, my king. Your children can't wait till you come down, my king. What the Most High making in that blue sky? A new heaven for you and I. A new heaven for you and I. A new heaven for you and I.
I got a working camera, ain't that crazy? Ooh! I'm so happy, Y'all have no idea, but real quick. Happy Memorial Day. You know, shout out to those that gave their lives and that served and continue to serve wherever you are. You got family members that served. Shout out to y'all for putting your lives on the line for our freedom. We appreciate you. We appreciate you so much. So happy Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. This is for who we got in the chat. Tech Boy still in the chat. What's good, Tech Boy? What's good? You said your mom saw a picture and you got scared. Hopefully nothing happens. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. You'll be cool. You said school is ending in 2 days. No, that's great. That's great. School's about to be over. You got I understand your situation. I understand. I know you like school. I know. But you know, it's not that bad. You have a whole summer to do tech reviews. You can get, if you're old enough, you can go get you a job, make you some money. You know, you did the Murph challenge. Well, that's the PT test or something, because you said you did 29 pull-ups. Robert, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Jorge, welcome to the stream. Jorge says, just checking in after 2 days of rain at Charlotte. We're finally getting the Coca-Cola 600. Oh, you talking about NASCAR right now. I gotta say that Tyler Reddick, number 55, the blue on the hood is pretty sweet. That's what's up. That's what's up. Tech Boy, you said you applied to a job. Hey, I hope you get it, bro. I hope you get it. I really hope you get it. Y'all can see everything works now. We should be good. I basically have a whole new computer at this point. I got a whole new camera. So much money was spent. So much money was spent. But I'm good. I'm good. We good. I'm back to doing the streams. I'm so happy. Last week was very weird. It was extremely weird. What's up? King Penguin, what's going on? What's going on, my man? Robert said he got 9 days of school left and then he's finished. But he said getting jobs in the UK is so trash. I can't help you there, bro. But hey, 9 more days. And you about to be free for the summer. Hey, what's my old computer doing? Tech Boy, you don't want it. It has an Asus motherboard. That was the problem of everything. I bought all new stuff in order to troubleshoot until I got to that. I went to a place, this isn't in every state, but it's called Micro Center. It's basically a big computer store. And my husband used to work there years back. We still know a lot of the people that work there. We came in, told them what was going on, and we was like, we want a new motherboard, no Asus. And they was like, oh, we already know. Don't nobody want them right now. Nobody. It's bad. It sucks. So it is what it is. It is what it is. You don't want it, Tech Boy. You got a Micro Center where you live? That's what's up. That store is awesome. If you guys have one where you live, go. It's really just a big computer store. It's all everything you could think of, need, want. If Celtics win, I'll party like it's 2023. Look, y'all getting lucky with the referees. You know, I just gotta let you know, Jorge. One already got caught with the burner account. He was a Celtics fan. The other two running tonight, because ain't the game tonight? Miami's win record against them is always 0. They really want the Celtics to take it. The NBA script this year is for the Celtics. I'm just messing with you, but yeah, I know that's your team. You deserve to party if they win. You deserve to party. All right. Let's get into it, y'all. I know y'all see the title of the screen. It says SNEAKO versus What Do You Mean? So basically, SNEAKO, I don't know what video this is from, but I remember him and Gideon recently had like a debate, if you can call it that, because they both have no clue about either their religions. I'm be real with you. Gideon don't really know nothing about Christianity. Like his level of thinking is like a baby's, like a baby Christian. You know what I'm saying? And SNEAKO's, I swear on everything, SNEAKO only claims Islam because Andrew Tate went that way. Because remember when Andrew Tate was like, oh, I give to the church and I go to church every Sunday in Romania. And then SNEAKO, next thing you know, SNEAKO's like, yeah, I believe in God and blah, blah, blah. He's doing the same thing. And as soon as Andrew Tate was like, you know what? The Christians are weak and they allow people to just treat them any old way, but the Muslims don't. So I'm going to practice Islam now. And then next thing you know, very next day, SNEAKO's like, yeah, you know, Islam just calling out to me. It's like, sir, you don't even know. You were practicing this religion? Because this man claims he's practicing this religion. Like, it's weird. It's so weird. He said commenting on a Twitter is not a cheat, is against. Wait, what? What you saying too? He said, say hi to my nephews, please. Is your nephew's name Deglin? Is that his name? Hey, hello to King Penguin's nephews. Hi, what's going on? I just hope I'm reading this correctly. If I butchered your name, I apologize. I'm so sorry. I don't be meaning to do it. It is okay. All right, look. I don't like butchering people's names. I be feeling bad, you know. Your name means everything. It's what it means. But hello, hi, what's going on? What's going on? I appreciate all of you for watching and stopping through and everything. And once again, I am so happy to be back. Last week was weird. I played way too many video games with my friends. It was weird. I don't like doing that. I like being busy and doing stuff. Thanks so much. Hey, it's no problem. It's no problem, man. Also, I got something in the works right now with one of the other people that be in the chat. But once it's all together, I'm gonna let y'all know when it's ready. But it's dope. It's awesome. It's awesome. But all right, let's get into this video where What Do You Mean breaks down SNEAKO's arguments against Christianity, essentially, which they're bad. They're so bad. But let's go ahead and get into this video.
Now, the famous influencer SNEAKO has been consistently giving everyone 5 reasons for why he recently embraced Islam and why he rejects Christianity. Now, there's a lot of people saying that he only converted to Islam because Andrew Tate did, but
Facts.
I personally don't know the man's motives and won't jump to any conclusions. However, if he is being sincere in the reasons that he gives, then we should expect for SNEAKO to leave Islam and embrace Christianity by the time that he's done watching this video. The reason
All right, well, that didn't happen because SNEAKO actually did a response, which we're going to watch after this. Also, Robert, thank you, bro. I appreciate y'all. So nice, man. That's why I rock with y'all, man. That's why I rock with y'all.
And why is because the 5 reasons that he gives, if he wants to be consistent, are the very things that should actually cause him to reject Islam and instead become a Christian. So, don't believe me? I'll prove it. Let's start with his first reason.
Why I resonate with Islam, why it makes sense for me, because it's weird. It doesn't make sense to me to pray to a man. I don't want to submit to a man. The only person that we should submit to and that we should pray to should be the one creator of the universe, which is Allah.
All right, so first off, this don't make no sense. I'm not submitting to a man. You mean Jesus? Sir. But you just said you would submit to Allah. But in Islam, don't you gotta submit to Muhammad, which is a man, right? All right, I'm just saying.
He created the universe, and we love him for it. Perfect. That really, it makes the most sense to me.
So as you just heard, SNEAKO doesn't like the idea of submitting to a man and therefore decided.
Hey, Rap Night, what's going on? You said long time no see. Facts. What's up? What's going on? Jorge says it's pretty simple. SNEAKO wants to justify being with multiple women. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But like I said before, and mind you, if there is like a Muslim in the chat, feel free to correct me, right? But this is what I got from Muslims. You can't just be with a bazillion women all willy-nilly. Like, apparently, if you're married and you want to have like another wife, it's like a process to that. You don't just come home one day and be like, hey, honey, here's the new one. like it's a whole, apparently that's like a whole thing. So that's, like I said, if there's any Muslims in the chat and you want to correct me, feel free. Because I'm just going off of what I was told from somebody who like lives that life.
To reject Christianity and to embrace Islam. But unfortunately, if SNEAKO really does have a problem with submitting to a man, then he should reject Islam. The reason why is because, according to the Quran, SNEAKO is actually commanded to submit to Muhammad, who's a man. So if this is a real reason for why SNEAKO rejects Christianity, then he should also reject Islam. But what's even more interesting is the reason that he gives for why he thinks that he should only worship Allah. He said that he only wants to worship Allah because Allah is God, Allah is the creator of the universe, and therefore we should love him for it. But ironically, in Christianity, Jesus is God. He created the entire universe. So why does SNEAKO have a problem with worshiping Jesus in Christianity? Well,
So Tech Boy says, don't you have to marry the women though? Yeah. That's why I said it's a whole process. So this is how I was told. After you're married to the first one, you and your wife have to agree to bring another woman in to the marriage, and then he also marries that woman. So like I said, it's not like you just go out on the street and be like, hey girl, you trying to be part of the squad, and you just bring her home. That's not how any of that works.
Well, the reason why is because SNEAKO seems to have a problem with Jesus being both God and man. Fair enough. So, for argument's sake,
all right,
let's go
Jorge.
ahead and say that Jesus isn't God and that he's only a man. So, if you have to submit to a man in both Islam and Christianity, then who does SNEAKO think is the more rational person to submit to? On the one hand, we have Muhammad, who wasn't born of a virgin,
The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, as a human being like the rest of us, do have sin.
needed forgiveness for his sins,
The promise of God is that he does forgive sins, and his promise in the Quran is that he has forgiven the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, for his sins past and future.
and according to SNEAKO, he wasn't perfect and did some questionable things.
Are you against grooming?
Yeah, it's gross.
How do you feel about like the fact that Muhammad like married a 9-year-old girl?
I don't know how true that is.
But I don't think any Muslims deny it.
If that's true, then he's not. Then nobody's perfect.
So, if SNEAKO doesn't have a problem
I have to stop this. I saw somebody in SNEAKO's chat did try to defend the whole Muhammad thing. They were just like, oh, the marriage times back in the day was different. Which is true. The marriage ages were different back in the day. Whereas we have like Mary and Joseph, they were teenagers, right? But we talking about kids at this point. We talking about like a 9-year-old. Because didn't he really get with her when she was like 6 or 7 or something? So the person's argument was, back in the day, women used to get their periods at 7. He's like, their bodies was just different back in the day. So once they got that period, they was a woman. And, you can marry them at 7. And I was like, yo, what is this man talking about? It was the weirdest argument justification I had ever read. It's like, nah, that's not true in the slightest. I don't know what you're talking about. Here, I just said this earlier. SNEAKO seems to just move way Tate moves because every reason he put against Christianity is very bare bones and ill-informed facts. It's just, he just does what Andrew Tate does. And like Jorge said, he just wants some justification for having multiple women, but he don't even know how that works. So, have to say goodnight to everyone. All right, Robert, thank you for popping in. As usual, I appreciate you always stopping by because I know that time difference is crazy. But thank you for stopping by like you usually do.
was submitting to a man like Muhammad, who, even according to him, wasn't morally perfect, then why would he have a problem submitting to someone like Jesus, who, even according to Islam, was born of a virgin, performed miracles, and wasn't a sinner? If submitting to a man really is a problem for SNEAKO, then he should reject Islam since it requires Muslims to submit to Muhammad. And if he decides to have a change of mind and conclude that he's actually okay with submitting to a man, then once we compare Jesus and Muhammad, even according to SNEAKO's own standards, then it makes a lot more sense for him to be a Christian and not a Muslim. Now, let's move over to another reason that SNEAKO gives for converting to Islam.
I like the fact that you pray 5 times a day in Islam. You're going to be more grounded. They take prayer more seriously than any other religion.
All right, now this is...
Before John gives his take, as a Christian, you can talk to God and pray all day if you want to. Nothing is stopping you from doing that in the slightest. Like, at all. Just because it's not set at designated times and you have to, like, look in a certain direction and whatnot, it doesn't ruin any of that. Like, you could talk to God all day long if you want to. I be doing it sometimes. Whatever be on my mind, I just look up, I just be talking. It just is what it is. You said that's a ludicrous way to justify the 9-year-old thing because there still are girls that have their periods early. That means it's okay for grown men to marry them. Like I told you, that dude's argument was wild. Like, his justification is crazy. Cause so I will give you this: some girls do mature early. I've never met a girl or heard of one that matured at like 7 though. 9 and 10 sometimes, especially nowadays with what did they say? It's due to like the hormones and like the meat and stuff now. The girls, it's happening like earlier in the girls. But yeah, you still don't have sex and marry them because they're not women. They're like still kids. But that's a crazy justification. Did you hear about the guy to be fired? Wasn't he like the head of marketing or something? Because they fired him on Twitter, which was crazy. 7 might a little crazy, but not, yeah, I know.
This is actually a really strange one because not too long after he recorded this video, he asked for guidance in this area, and he said this.
I don't have the time to pray 5 times a day. Are you supposed to take all the steps fully? Are you supposed to fully dive into it, or can you, like, what's the next move?
So now it's pretty strange that
he said he didn't. Hold on. Hold on. He was like, I love that you pray 5 times a day. And then he literally said, he was talking about himself. He was like, yeah, I ain't got time for that. What do I do?
Said this.
I don't have the time to pray 5 times a day. Are you supposed to take all the steps fully? Are you supposed to fully dive into it, or can you, like, what's the next move?
So now it's pretty strange that he cites praying 5 times a day as something that he likes about Islam, which is ironically the same thing that he thinks that he can't do. Now, I'm not sure if he realizes that these prayers aren't prayers that spontaneously come from the heart. Instead, these prayers are just memorized sayings in Arabic, which is, of course, a language that SNEAKO doesn't understand. But if SNEAKO just likes a structure that comes with ritualized or memorized prayer, then he could have just stayed in his Catholic church, since they have recited prayer as well. I mean, unless he just...
Oh yeah, for those that don't know, so SNEAKO said this when Young Don was like first preaching the gospel to him and stuff. And this is like when Young Don first came into Christianity. But SNEAKO said he grew up in the Catholic Church. We all know what that means when somebody be like, most people who be like, I grew up in the church, really don't know the Bible or nothing like that. Most of them, you just saying that because like mom, dad, grandma, whoever would just drag you once a week. But most of those people never really read it or took it seriously. You just did it because like your family told you to do it, you know? That's what SNEAKO was. He didn't actually like live it and read it, and that wasn't him.
Just likes the fact that they pray 5 times a day. Well, if that's the case, then there's no reason that he couldn't set a clock, get down on his knees, and pray 5 times a day as a Christian. So if this really was a reason for why he converted to Islam, then he shouldn't be a Muslim, since in Islam he's obligated to pray 5 times a day. And he even said himself that he can't meet all his obligations since he doesn't have the time for it. So instead of embracing Islam, he really should just embrace Christianity. The next reason that's...
Rap Night says, you think SNEAKO goes to mosque each Friday? Nope. I don't believe he does that at all. I saw him, obviously, when they were in Dubai, like him and Fresh and Fit put the, I don't know what the proper term of it, but like the long gown type shirt. They went to mosque when they were out there like once for the little photo ops, right? And I saw him do it once again. He did a photo when he was in, I think they live in Miami. But no. I do not believe he goes every Friday. That's cap. I believe he takes his pictures every now and then, just like the people that claim they be going to the gym and then they just like don't actually work out. They get their little photos in and bounce. I think that's what SNEAKO does. A jalabia, okay. Yeah. I've seen him rock it twice. And it was like very spaced out apart from each other. I don't think he goes. I'm gonna be real with you.
SNEAKO consistently gives for why he rejects Christianity in favor of Islam is his problem with hierarchies.
Like why I never felt like Christianity spoke to me. For example, like there's a hierarchy in Christianity. They have, well, in Catholicism, they have bishops, they have priests, they have the Pope. There's like a power structure, like politics in the religion, which makes no sense. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in Islam, there is none. It's just we're all equal. We're all God's children.
So here SNEAKO says that he has a problem.
Okay, well, sir, you could have just been Protestant. And you could have been like non-denominational or any other denomination if that's like a problem. Like you could have just did that. All right.
Problem with hierarchies in Catholicism, and therefore converted to Islam, since there are no hierarchies in Islam and we're all children of God. All right, lots of issues with this one. First off, to say that he likes the idea that we're all God's children in Islam rather than Christianity is exactly backwards. The idea that God is our Father and we're His children comes straight from Christianity. In fact, it's actually offensive to say such a thing in Islam, since the best relationship that we can have with Allah is a slave-master relationship. Secondly, when it comes to talking about hierarchies, it really depends on what he means when he says that. Now, I'm not a Catholic, so I won't speak to that, but the answer that his Muslim friends gave him in response is virtually identical to the Christian position.
Although there will be levels, like for example, the imam or the sheikh will have a certain level, not over people in sight of God, but we listen to them because they have knowledge. People like the leader of the Islamic community, we listen to them because they're the leader. They were kind of put in place by God to make sure the community is safe, and they have responsibility. Just like a husband has responsibility for his wife and kids, there's a level of authority there. But it's not that, oh, he's better than us or God loves him more. You can have like a poor person who worships God, who's very loved by God because of their, devotion.
Okay.
Now, the only major...
All right, real quick. Look what Rap Knight just wrote. I didn't know this. I mean, I guess I wouldn't. I don't practice Islam, but Rap Knight says, I hope he knows that if you miss, I think, 4 to 5 of those mosque meetings, not sure if it's in a row or not, he is supposed to be excommunicated from Islam. Yikes. That's crazy. But it makes sense because they take that, you're supposed to take that very seriously. So this is what I think. I'm about to look this up too, but this is what I think. Because Andrew Tate also does things you're not really supposed to be doing, and he don't get checked like that. I think they kind of just allow them to do whatever because they're influencers, and based on their influence, they're just gonna pull a bunch of people into the religion. You know what I'm saying? If they were smart, it would be like, you need to do this correctly to pull people in, but I think they're kind of just taking whatever they can get. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think they're gonna check them, because I have seen some Muslims on Twitter complain about SNEAKO and Andrew Tate and be like, yo, I don't understand why they're allowed to do XYZ. They shouldn't even be doing this or that. Let me type this in real quick. Yeah, it says, do Islams? I gotta take my time when I read. My brain moves faster than what I want to say. Do Muslims get excommunicated? So it says causes for excommunication, right? Openly and knowingly abandoning Islam, its teachings and practices. Living one's life in a way that clearly evidences that one has strayed or is deviant in his or own beliefs and practice of Islam. I feel like that's Andrew Tate and SNEAKO right there. Bowing to or worshiping idols, crosses, planets, or symbolic representations of God. Rejecting strict monotheism by embracing other deities besides Allah. Or holding that God is female, a child, has partners or helpers. It says such as a spouse, son, or additional members of a Godhead or Trinity. It says denying that Allah is the cause and or source of all creations. Mocking the Prophet Muhammad or denying his prophetic mantle and divine call. Openly calling into question something taught in the Quran or an accepted statement from the Prophet Muhammad as given in the Hadith. Wow, okay, hold on. Let's go back to this real quick. You can get excommunicated if you openly call into question something taught in the Quran? So if you just be like, hey, I don't understand this, so why does XYZ happen? Or you're questioning an accepted statement, you can get excommunicated? That's wild. So to me, that sounds like, hey, you gonna believe what we say or get up out of here. That's kind of wild. Denying the revealed nature of the Quran as literally God's word or mocking that holy text and its teachings. Denying the obligatory nature of something that the imja or consensus of Muslims hold to be obligatory and or salvific. It says less commonly seen as a justification or mukafir. It says, or the act of excommunication would include the following. So it says intentionally praying in a direction other than Mecca. Okay, that's when they figure out which direction they have to like get down and pray. Using music as a means of worship or reciting the Quran to music. A female cursing her husband or doing the same to an Islamic cleric or scholar. Yikes. Tech Boy, you said it's a cult? It's a wild way of putting this. A leader of an Islamic State who is insufficiently religious in his personal life. Would an influencer be a leader of an Islamic? No, I guess not. It says a Muslim government official who does not stand up for Islam or who does not enforce Sharia law upon all living in the country. And then a Muslim who is of different denomination than their takfiri on condemner, or who does not support the views and practices, example, terrorism, yikes, of the person who calls for their excommunication. It also goes on to say, of course, for a Muslim to make mistakes, whether in practice, doctrine, or belief, when he or she is too young to be fully accountable, is in a mentally unstable state, is uninformed or unaware, or is simply confused about what is right or expected, does not constitute unbelief, idolatry, or apostasy. So they're probably just gonna let Andrew Tate and SNEAKO have that air of like they don't really know, so that they're probably not gonna get excommunicated. That's what it sounds like. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. All right, let's type in, because that didn't really bring it up. Can you miss mosque meetings? In Islam. Let me just... because they didn't pop up right away. Here, somebody said, is it haram to miss prayer because of high school? Yo, this... They said you basically need a valid excuse to miss it. But you have to be an adult. So if you're like a kid or something, this isn't really for you. It basically says you have to be a free, sane, adult, resident Muslim man who has the ability to attend the salah and does not have a valid excuse to miss it. So they kept it real simple. They said, keep in mind, even 3 men can make a congregation for you to like make your obligatory Friday prayer. It says, due to circumstances, if you are unable to reach a Juma congregation, make sure you offer your doer prayers as required. The ulema has declared that one should not miss Juma congregation consecutively for 3 weeks, or else his iman will be compromised. What does iman mean? Let's look that up. Yeah, what does this mean? All right, meaning of iman. Iman is an Arabic term which denotes certitude or adherence to an idea. So in Islamic theology, it refers to the inner aspect of the religion and denotes a believer's faith in the metaphysical realities of Islam. So the term iman has been delineated in both the Quran as well as the famous hadith of Gabriel. So it refers to the inner aspect of the religion and denotes a believer's faith in Islam. So basically, if you miss 3 weeks consecutively, your faith will be compromised. That's what that basically means. Yeah, it's a wrap. I don't think SNEAKO doing that every week. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think he doing that every week. Rap Knight says, I knew a lot of Muslims in my formative years, and they were very adamant about the fact the missing mosque enough times would mean that you were no longer a Muslim. I mean, that's basically what it sounds like, because they say if you miss 3 consecutive weeks, your faith is at risk. Yeah, it sounds like they don't consider you Muslim after that. Like, you have to have a valid excuse, and even with that valid excuse, you still have to get your, like it said, your Dur prayers in at the very least. So, yeah. I wouldn't consider SNEAKO and Andrew Tate. I wouldn't consider them like full on. This is just a mask for them. Let's be honest. For all we know, his whatever you call it is already compromised. His iman, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Because they already do stuff that, like, doesn't align with the religion anyways. So you do that on top of not going to mosque every Friday to do those prayers. It's a wrap.
The difference here is that in Christianity, God loves you whether you're faithful to him or not, and if you're a believer or a non-believing sinner, which just isn't the case in Islam. So this means that if hierarchies are a problem for SNEAKO, then he should also reject Islam. And even more, since he likes the fact that we're all God's children, then he should not only reject Islam, but also embrace Christianity, since that's a Christian concept, not an Islamic one. But the next reason that he gives creates an even bigger problem for his conversion.
What I like about Islam and why it's haram to draw Muhammad. And that's why I didn't really resonate with Christianity a lot growing up, because it's like, they're all the images that they put of God. It doesn't make sense to me. We are not capable of visualizing what the creator of the universe looks like, what he's doing. Why is he in a cloud chilling with a beard? Why is he white? Why is God a dude? It doesn't make any sense. So there's no point in us even conceptualizing it, because we can never have the capability to.
No disrespect to the Catholics watching. I like the fact that Islam doesn't draw Muhammad, peace be upon him. You're not supposed to ever visualize that, because he was not alive in our time. There's no way that we would know what he looked like, especially Allah, God. He's never drawn. We have no idea what he looks like, or because there's no way. Humans are too stupid. We're not mentally capable of understanding what God would look like.
We can't conceptualize.
We can't conceptualize. So it's not supposed to. In Christianity, I'll grow up and you have like God on a cloud, and it's like this guy with a white dude on a beard, and he's like laying in a cloud, and he's like putting his hand down. Like, why?
So as you just heard, he thinks that it's wrong to draw God or Jesus or Muhammad, since
that's very close to like the black people I know that be like, hey yo, why God white? Like, I can't resonate with a white God and blah, blah. Why is he drawn that way? And it's like, who cares? That's how I kind of feel at the end of the day. I don't care how he is drawn at all, in the slightest. I don't even think we're supposed to be using pictures of him anyways. But if that's how they resonate when they want to draw him and be like, oh, this is a picture of my father or whatever, I care less, as long as you're not being super blasphemous with it. Like, I don't care if you make him Chinese, black, white. I could care less, because in the Bible anyways, like, we kind of get an idea of description based on historical area of the time. We kind of have an idea what he might look like, you know what I'm saying? Outside of that, I could care less, bro. I could really care less. That's such a stupid thing to be like stuck on, in my opinion. Jasmine, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Just a girl up in here. Welcome to the stream as well. Hey, y'all, like I said, I have something special planned with somebody in this chat right now. But when it's ready, I'll let y'all know. When it's ready. But yeah, just like a girl said, because of the Renaissance painters. That's all it is. But yeah, other than that, I could care less. All right? I remember I told a story to Kyle when I went to the Relic Church out in Pittsburgh. And I was on his stream talking about it. Off stream, I told him a story of something my mom had said, because I was like, I don't know how that was going to come off on stream. But I'm gonna just share it with y'all. One of the things that she did say when we walked out and was walking to my car, she was just like, yeah, the only thing I didn't like the statues, Jesus was white. Why Jesus always got to be white? And I'm just like, well, who cares, Mom? Like, it's not a big deal to me. Like, it shouldn't be a big deal to you. Kyle was like, let me show you something. He sent me this picture. And the Catholics over in like China, I think it was, they had a picture of Mary. Mary looked Asian. Was Mary Asian? I don't know. Probably not, based on historical context of like the land and area, but that's just what they drew because they were like, this is what I think my mother looks like or whatever, right? How many pictures we done all seen of Mary? It's all different. I done seen her, Jesus, all of them in all different shades and colors. It does not matter. That's a dumb reason to not be a part of something.
We don't know what they actually look like. But if conceptualizing or visualizing God is a problem for SNEAKO, and not just backwards reasoning to come up with justification for why he's accepting Islam, then once again, SNEAKO has some serious problems. The first reason why is because, according to some Islamic teachers,
Allah described in the Quran that he has a face. Allah described in the Quran that he has 2 hands.
And both of Allah's hands are right hands.
We believe that both of the hands of Allah are what? Huh?
The hadith says very clearly that both his hands.
What? They think he had 2 right hands. So just no left hand, just 2 right, so they both in the same direction like this? Or is it 2 right hands on like the same arm and then you got the left hand? How do y'all know that? Why y'all even trying to visualize? I thought you couldn't visualize or draw this, man. I don't. I bet Asian Mary had great hair. That's funny. I don't know about Catholics, but those images are not literal images. Facts. The pictures are just art, not people telling you this is what God really looks like truly. Thank you, Rap Knight. Thank you. I'm laughing because I read what you wrote after that. You said maybe he had 2 left feet. That sounds uncomfortable. That sounds horrible. Think about it. This is my right hand. So I'm flipping it the other way. Imagine having 2 in this direction. Like, you can't. Oh, that's weird. That sounds horrible.
Hands are right.
The saq here refers to Allah's shin. So he has a leg.
The Quran says that Allah has 1 eye.
Read Surah Qalam, Surah number 68, ayat number 42. The shin of Allah is mentioned.
In fact, Sheikh Uthman, the one who brought SNEAKO to his first mosque, he believes that Allah has body parts as well, although Shooter gets pretty fuzzy when he's pressed on exactly what those body parts look like. But here's the thing, even as I played those clips, if SNEAKO were listening to those Muslim leaders describing Allah, then it would actually be impossible for SNEAKO not to conceptualize Allah. So in other words, he would be doing the very thing that he gave as a reason for why he rejects Christianity. So now, unfortunately, SNEAKO's in a bit of a dilemma. He can either accept or reject these teachers' interpretation of those passages in the Quran and the Hadiths. If he rejects their interpretation, then he would have to interpret those passages as non-literal representations of God, which is the very thing that everyone knows is true about the paintings that he's referencing. No one thinks that those are actually...
Also remember, because we read it together, if he openly questions this... and he goes against something that he openly questions it, he gets excommunicated. So that man's not about to do that publicly.
Real depictions of what God is supposed to look like. But regardless, if SNEAKO doesn't like pictures of God, then he can still reject those since those aren't a feature of Christianity. It's not as if these pictures are found in the Bible or they're part of any Christian teaching. Obviously, the Bible doesn't say that God is an old white man. But on the other hand, if he does accept those Muslims' interpretations of Allah, then he should reject Islam since he's against conceptualizing or visualizing God. And not only that, but he should also accept Christianity because even as Mufti Abdullah says, the Quranic depiction of Allah is far worse than God being pictured as a white man.
Yeah, honestly, that is not that. They've got some picture of some kind of a gremlin.
Yo, is this supposed to be him? He has 2 hands, both are right hands, has 1 shin only, but with 2 feet. Yo, this looked like a monster. And then the other guy in the other clip said he had multiple eyes. So it would be, it would look like a monster, like a little alien running around. Ugh. They made him look like some out of a horror movie, bruh. Nah. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I couldn't be comfortable with this. I couldn't be comfortable with this. This looks horrible. Nah.
And last but definitely not least,
nah, he cool with that. But God is like an old man with a beard chilling on a cloud is a problem? Ain't no way.
is perhaps the most absurd of them all. The 5th reason that he gives for rejecting Christianity and embracing Islam is the fact that the Bible's been changed and the Quran hasn't. But you're probably wondering to yourself right now, why would that be the most absurd of all of his claims, since that's a claim that Muslims often make? Well, it's not the ignorance of the claim that makes it the most interesting, but instead it's the way that he argues for it. So
No, look what Raph said. He's like, no, I'm not gonna lie. That's a tough monster concept. That's a whole final antagonist. Yo, that looked like a Final Fantasy boss, like straight up. That looked like something from Dark Souls. Like, imagine, Dark Souls, because that game already hard. Imagine it look like that, but it's just bigger. Like, it's huge. Like, you know how big the monsters be in that game? See, and now we talking about this being, now we talking about that image being video game bad guy characters. Haley, welcome to the stream. What's going on?
The context here in this clip that I'm about to play is that SNEAKO is having a debate with Gideon on Islam and Christianity, and SNEAKO is coming.
This debate, I don't even know if I can call this a debate, but this is what I referenced in the very beginning. Gideon and SNEAKO both have no idea about either of their faiths. It's a rough watch. If y'all want, when we're done with these two videos, I could pull it and we can kind of just scrub through it a little bit. It's super rough to watch. They're both lost. They both have no clue about their religions. Because Gideon claims he's Christian, and we know SNEAKO claims he practices Islam. They both have no clue about what's going on.
Across as if he literally doesn't know any of the basics of the Bible.
What's the chapter and verse of that?
Matt, verse 39.
Matt? You mean
what's
Matthew?
the chapter?
I don't know. There's been so many different. There's so many different versions of the Bible, bro.
What other version?
It's not. It's just translations. It's not versions. It's just translations. They all say essentially the exact same thing.
Of the Bible are there?
There's so many, bro.
Okay, tell me some.
Okay, let's look up versions of the Bible. We have the King James Version, the English Standard Version, the New American Standard, the New English Bible.
You know the funny thing about all those different versions, SNEAKO?
What?
They're all just different translations, buddy.
Yeah.
But it gets worse.
Most people haven't read the original version. Have you heard of the Council of Nicaea?
What about the Council of Nicaea?
There's been a lot of chapters that have been removed, and the Bible's been tampered and manipulated with a lot over the years. Well, they did remove the
What does that have to do with the Council of Nicaea?
the Council of Nicaea from the original Bible. A lot of people.
Oh, what? Hold on. What'd he say? Wait a minute. We're gonna back this up a little bit. Just a Girl says, I'm fond of New Living Translation myself. I used because I had to write my testimony because I'm getting baptized in June. Because I read King James, I don't know what they read in my church, because I don't remember what version they read, but I had to take one of the verses I wanted to use and I made it an NLT version just so it's like easier to read out to people. Because I'm not trying to hit the Shakespearean on them. I don't want people sitting there like, because it's supposed to be kids there too, so he said most people can't read Hebrew and Greek. You don't say, right? Like, let's see what hold on.
Manipulated with a lot over the years. Well, they did remove the Council of Nicaea from the original Bible. A lot of people haven't read those parts of the Bible.
What? What is he talking about? They My man said they removed the Council of Nicaea from the Bible so nobody can see that. Sir, that's not a thing. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, man. It would do him well to just start learning church history. I'm not even like, I'm not a master at none of this. But even the fact that I know a lot of this and he's just lost. Sir, what did you just say? Look at this. The Council of Nicaea just can't get a break. The Muslims, anti-Trinitarians, and atheists just won't leave them alone, right? So much so now we're taking the book out of the Bible and messing. He's on Google. You can just Google it. If you don't know what the Council of Nicaea, just Google it.
Council of Nicaea. What are you saying? There's a book called the Council of Nicaea.
Yeah.
Look at this right here. Sir, just open this tab that says what was the main purpose. Just open it up, please, and read it. It'll just tell you.
There's not no book.
He did it. Don't tell me he read this and still didn't like. Look at this. For those that don't know, the first council in the history of the Christian church that was intended to address the entire body of believers. Right? Please tell me he read this. Please tell me he read this.
Called the Council of Nicaea.
It's not a whole book, but it's. Let's see.
So as you,
sir, you had it. Why you ain't read that? Why you?
Just heard, SNEAKO rejects the credibility of the Bible in favor of Islam because they removed the book of the Council of Nicaea from the Bible. Now, for anyone who knows literally anything about church history, they know that the Council of Nicaea is not a book, but instead it's a council. Now, ordinarily, it wouldn't be a big deal that he's ignorant on Christianity and Islam since he's a new convert, but that's not the point. The point is, this is a problem since the reasons that he converted are based on the ignorance of Islam and Christianity. So after taking a second to Google the Council of Nicaea, SNEAKO says this.
There's no book of what?
Sir, just read this. It says it right here. Just read this. Please let SNEAKO read this.
There was a council called the Council of Nicaea that manipulated the original Bible.
Bruh, you're on Google. Just read what you have up.
All right, pause right there for a second, because what's so insane about this is that even on his screen, on the front page of his Google search, it says there is no historical basis for the idea that Nicaea established the canon and created the Bible. It's literally right there on his screen and it's highlighted. And this means that not only is he not reading the screen, but it also means that he didn't even take the time to do a 2-second Google search on the Council of Nicaea before deciding that this was his reason for rejecting Christianity and embracing Islam. So now when it comes to his point about the Bible being changed at the Council of Nicaea, honestly, I feel bad for him. He's likely just repeating Muslim slogans about this, not realizing that this actually comes from a Dan Brown novel and not actual history. If anyone decides to go look up the actual history, then like SNEAKO, it would only take you really 2 seconds to learn that the Council of Nicaea literally had nothing to do with determining what books went into the Bible and what books didn't. In fact, the council wasn't even about the books of the Bible. Instead, it was about the Arian heresy. So honestly, I think that SNEAKO was misled here by some Muslim apologists who either knew or should have known better. But again, let's be charitable, because I'm a charitable guy and I'm feeling really charitable today. So let's say that SNEAKO is right that they actually did remove books from the Bible at the Council of Nicaea. Well, the problem with that claim is that we literally have tens of thousands of quotes from church fathers citing the scriptures long before, and we have dozens of manuscripts from before the Council of Nicaea was even a thought. So if someone really did change the Bible at the Council of Nicaea, then it would be pretty easy for textual critics to know what they changed and to fix it. We wouldn't be relying on the Council of Nicaea to know what was in the Bible anyway. And of course, when it comes to the Old Testament, then SNEAKO has also been deceived in believing that the Old Testament was changed as well, when in reality, history once again shows us that it wasn't. For a long time, the earliest manuscripts of the Old Testament that we had were from the 10th century AD. But once we found the Dead Sea Scrolls in 1947, we found Old Testament manuscripts that were more than 1,000 years older than the ones that we previously had. So of course, this gave us the opportunity to see if the Old Testament manuscripts that we had been changed or not. But once we compared them with one another, they proved to be virtually exact. So not only do we know that the New Testament wasn't changed, but we also know that the Old Testament wasn't changed either. And by the way, SNEAKO, if you're watching this, I'd love to have a conversation with you in private or in public about this, so reach out to me if you're interested. SNEAKO then goes on to argue that the reason why he converted to Islam is because there's only one Arabic Quran that hasn't been changed at all.
You know what book has never been manipulated? And you know what book has no 30 different versions of it?
What book?
The Quran.
I just know this is probably a lie. This has to be a lie.
Stay consistent for 1,400 years. I'm just giving you a reason why I...
The only reason I'm saying is I've never read the Quran, but the fact that this man could not read his Google search, I just know this got to be a lie.
Believe in the Quran more, because I can be certain that this hasn't been tampered with the way the Bible has. But the original text of the Quran has never been tampered with.
Here, John also says, we don't even have the Acts of Nicaea other than the creed, canons, and things like synodical letters. There's nothing about manipulating the Bible nor any reason for doing so. Facts. Don't worry, John. SNEAKO has no idea what he's talking about. My man, he had Google up and he didn't. Google told him what the Council of Nicaea was and he didn't read it. So
Has never
it's
been
okay.
manipulated.
It's all right.
And this is the one that you could always go to. It's the same. It's consistent for 1,400 years.
And I was planning on responding to this claim to show how, once again, this should cause him to reject Islam and to embrace Christianity. But then I thought, you know what? I know someone who could answer this claim far better than I could. And so I called my friend David Wood and I asked him if he would cover this point. And let me tell you, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse for SNEAKO, then comes David's video. Go ahead and click here to see what I mean. And the next time that you give reasons for...
Oh, snap. Hold on. We have to watch this. We have to. Okay.
Looks like...
Here, before we get into this, we're gonna take a super quick minor break, right? I just want to remind you guys, we're still doing the backpack drive. I got a lot of stuff from you guys, like donation-wise so far. And I just wanted to give a quick shout out to everybody that has donated thus far. And I also want to show you guys a picture of like how much stuff we have so far. So let me just pull this up real quick just so I can give quick shout outs. So, of course, everybody who's ever sent a super chat, I don't have everybody's names. I guess it'd be your YouTube names, but shout out to everybody that's ever sent a super chat because all that money did also go towards this as well, and it's still being used for this. Shout out to Ryan Wesley, Jasmine, Arcdrift's Business, Tyray, Faith HQ, who is K-Way. Shout out to all y'all for donating either through PayPal, Cash App, or Streamlabs. I appreciate all of you. Everybody, like I said, who's done the super chats. Let me pull up the picture real quick. It was on my community page. Oh, this is little. What? All right, hold on. We're going to get a better picture. We're gonna get a better picture. I'm gonna just go to my photos. I know it's gonna be like that small. Like, dang. All right, here we go. So, what you guys are seeing, just to share with y'all real quick. These two boxes right here, if you're following my mouse on the screen, these are the 48 book bags. We have a bunch of folders, rulers, binder, loose paper. I need way more binders. In here is like the pens, pencils, erasers, things of that nature. All like the smaller stuff that could just like fit in this box. And I should have it written down of like everything. Yeah. So this is what we have so far. We have 48 book bags, 146 folders, 24 packs of paper, 24 boxes of crayons, 12 packs of pencils, 10 packs of erasers, 8 packs of ink pens, 4 packs of highlighters, 12 packs of scissors, 48 rulers, and 3 binders. So, I just wanted to say thank you to you guys real quick. I was trying to do this last week, but you know, my motherboard was just like, we just gonna die. So that's all it was. But thank y'all so far for everything. Great job saying no. Great job, y'all. This is because of y'all. This is really because of y'all. Hey, Tyray, welcome to the stream. Thank you for pulling up. Another thing I wanted to show you guys. This has nothing to do with the book bag drive, but if you look on the table, you're going to see all these random like toys and dolls and stuff up here, right? What I've been doing for the past, I think it's 2 months now, I think probably 2 months. Every time I go to like basically Walmart or any store that has toys on clearance, I've just been picking up like 1 to 3 toys depending what they have, because my goal is to when December hits, I plan on taking all the toys plus whatever else I could find up until then to like a kid shelter, because there is like a children's shelter in my city, just so they can have toys for Christmas. That's all. I wanted to share this with you guys because this is with my money. Y'all, the donation money is down here. But the reason I want to share this with y'all is because, remember I told y'all I used to like coupon and all that, so I know where the deals are at. Up until I believe they stop in October. Toys are going to be on clearance up until that point. So if you have young children in your lives, nieces and nephews, young cousins that you usually buy Christmas presents for, please, like, if you want to make Christmas easier on yourself, start getting toys from the clearance sections. Also, sometimes toys are on what's called a hidden clearance. So it may not even be in this section, but if you follow the right groups, you'll know exactly which toys and Lego sets to look out for. You can confirm with your phone. So if you have like the Walmart or Target app, wherever you're at the moment, you scan on your phone, the clearance price should pop up. If it doesn't, you can always have like an employee use their gun. It's tricky because some employees act like the store is there, so they be tripping when you get stuff on clearance. But, you know, just something I wanted to share with you guys. Like, it's the easiest way to get toys for the kids in your life. This girl said, my 2-year-old niece says hi. Tell her I said hi. Tell her I said hi. She's alternating between this and Scooby-Doo. That's funny. But yeah, that's what I want. I wanted to share this with you guys as well, since this is also in the picture. Because if all of this wasn't in the same setup, I would have never mentioned this. But I figure since it is, I'll let y'all know. So yeah, start looking out for clearance toys so you can get stuff for like the kids in your life. Because y'all know how Christmas is. That's a rough time to get toys. Because at that point, everything is full price. Every single thing. Oh, and they do this with electronics too. So you got older kids that's into like laptops, the little AirPods, the Beats, video game systems and stuff, all that be on clearance too up until like October. I think right now is laptops, if you can find them at your local Walmarts, and Nintendo Switches. So you can get lucky. Certain Walmarts got Nintendo Switches for like $50 right now. Around me, they don't have any. I was trying to get some. They not where I live, but join certain groups, and y'all join coupon groups if y'all are interested, and you'll start learning about like all of this. But let's move on to the David Woods video, because let's see how he jumps in on SNEAKO.
Like SNEAKO is about to have a really bad weeko. If you have no idea...
Sir. That's like a dad thing to say.
idea who SNEAKO is, welcome to the club. Why am I talking about him? Because this gamer, streamer, whatever, just became the new poster boy for Islam. Much like his hero Andrew Tate, SNEAKO knows absolutely nothing about Christianity or Islam. But also, like Andrew Tate, SNEAKO's complete ignorance about Christianity and Islam doesn't stop him from constantly talking about Christianity and Islam. On the contrary, his ignorance made him the perfect target for dawah. A dawah-gandist looks at SNEAKO the same way Andrew Tate looks at a beautiful girl on Instagram. Oh look, here's someone I can manipulate into joining my sex cult and helping me get more followers. In case you're new to dawah, dawah is what jihadis do when they're too weak to fight. When they're not in a position to violently subjugate people, they lie to people in order to keep them in a state of ignorance until the jihadi community is strong enough to fight.
Just a girl says, I literally didn't know who SNEAKO was until this. Hey, that's nothing wrong with that. He's just, I watch him from time to time because it's just entertaining, right? I don't really take a lot of stuff he says seriously. I don't have an issue with him as a creator, but it's like with any other creator in like the manosphere, right? Because I watch Pearly things from time to time too, but it's the same way with her. It's entertainment more than anything.
SNEAKO has been a Muslim for all of 5 minutes, and he's already spouting the standard dawah lies, which means that someone is feeding him this nonsense and that we have a new opportunity to expose it. Take SNEAKO's claim that there's only one Quran.
You know what book has never been manipulated? You know what book has no 30 different versions of it? The Quran. Stayed consistent for 1400 years. But the original text of the Quran has never been tampered with. Has never been manipulated.
Like I said, the fact that he didn't read that Google search, I've never read the Quran, but I just noticed a lot.
And this is the one that you could always go to. It's the same, it's consistent. But no, it's directly translated from the original Quran. There was no council for the Quran. My point is that the Quran hasn't been manipulated by a council. It was recited by Muhammad, peace be upon him. And then that's exactly what the Quran is. And it hasn't been tampered with. It's been consistent the whole time. I'm just giving you a reason why
So, the Quran was revealed to Muhammad, and it's been consistent ever since. Smooth sailing. Only one version of the Quran. Now, did SNEAKO examine Qurans from around the world and discover that they're all identical? Of course he didn't. Dawagandists told him that there's only one Quran, and he believed them without bothering to investigate. So, where did SNEAKO hear that there's only one Quran? Well, he probably heard it from lots of Muslims because the myth of one Quran has been spreading for a few decades
David, we're
now.
about to let him know.
Yes, I said for a few decades. For most of Islamic history, Muslims understood that there were different Qurans. But eventually, Muslim scholars and Dawagandists realized that they could impress people by lying. Here's Sheikh Yasser Qadhi telling a popular audience that since the time of Caliph Uthman, no two copies of the Quran have ever differed in even a single word or letter.
So the Caliph Uthman standardized the copies of the Quran, and therefore from his time up until our time there has never been two copies of the Quran that are different even in one letter or one word.
Perfect preservation right down to the letter. Welcome to Fantasyland. Population 1.8 billion. You just heard Sheikh Yasser Qadhi in a video made for people like SNEAKO, people who don't know anything about the history of the Quran, say that every copy of the Quran in the world today is completely identical to every other copy. You heard him say that, right?
From his time up until our time, there has never been two copies of the Quran that are different even in one letter or one word.
But now I'm confused, because Sheikh Yasser Qadhi definitely does not believe what he just said. How do I know that he doesn't believe what he just said? Because when he's speaking to people he calls students of knowledge, these are Muslims who are on the path to becoming scholars, he admits that there are different Qurans.
In other words, if you were to compare two printed Qurans, you're going to see differences between them.
But world-renowned Quran scholar SNEAKO...
Oh, my man. He just did a whole video lying just to tell other scholars what the truth was. That's crazy.
says you're wrong, Sheikh.
And this is something that many people are unaware of and many people have heard but are not fully familiar with, especially those who have been exposed to some of our brothers who live in Algeria or Morocco or other North African countries. They recite the Quran in a slightly different way.
They recite the Quran differently? Are you simply referring to a different voice or speaking style?
Not just a voice or not just a speaking style, but also changes in letters and words and harakat.
Different letters and words? Here I thought that no two copies of the Quran differed in even a single letter or word. Where did I get that idea?
From his time up until our time, there has never been two copies of the Quran that are different even in one letter or one word.
Oh, that's just what Sheikh Yasser Qadhi says to people like SNEAKO. What does he say to students of knowledge again?
In other words, if you were to compare two printed Qurans, you're going to see differences between them. Changes in letters and words and harakat.
If you'd like to perform...
Here's what I don't understand. Why are you lying about it, though? Like, where do you get from lying? That's all I want to know. Because, say I'm in SNEAKO's position, and they're telling me all this, and I'm just taking it for face value in the beginning. And then I blow their minds because then I start reading. Maybe that's something they don't expect SNEAKO to do. But, like, then I start reading and studying on my own, and I'd be like, wait a minute now. This is a little different. I have questions now. What you gonna do when that comes? Because now, if I reach that point, I'll be like, I don't trust nothing you telling me now. You kind of just broke my trust. Like, why'd you come into this lying to me? What was that about? That's crazy.
Form a fun experiment. Line up 1,000 fans of Sheikh Yasser Qadhi. Show them clips of him saying that the Quran has been perfectly preserved right down to the letter. then show them clips of him admitting that there are different Qurans in different parts of the world. Then ask if they have any problem whatsoever with Sheikh Yasser Qadhi saying completely different things to different audiences. They won't have any problem with this at all, because Dawagandists don't simply lie to their listeners. They also psychologically condition their listeners to think that it's okay to lie for Dawah. Fascinating religion.
That's wild.
But Sheikh Yasser Qadhi isn't the only Muslim scholar who admits that there are different Qurans in different parts of the world. Here's Dr. Shabir Ali.
Today, most Muslims read the Quran in a text that is referred to as the Egyptian edition of 1924.
Most Muslims read a particular Egyptian version from 1924? I thought all Muslims of all times read exactly the same Quran.
But this is not the only text of the Quran that is read throughout the world.
Wait, there are different versions of the Quran even today? That's
Hey! Yo, shout out to Just a Girl for the $4.99 super chat. Hey, I'm gonna just say $5 for the $5 super chat. Hey, she said, also, if I recall correctly, there's a reformed Islam. How can that be if the Quran has never been changed? Ooh, I didn't know that. Oh, we about to look that up. We're about to look that up. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. I already showed it, but as y'all know, all 100% of donations go towards the book bag drive. And then once that's done, we're going to move on to the next thing. I don't know what that is yet. I don't know what that is yet, but we're going to figure it out. But thank you. Thank you so much, Jessica Girl. I appreciate you. Hey. All right, hold on. We said reformed Islam. Here it is. Well, let's make this bigger. Ooh, I almost exited up out of that. That would have been crazy. Islamic reformism may refer to Islah, an Arabic word usually translated as reform, Islamic revival, revivalism of the Islamic religion within the Islamic tradition. Islamic modernism, a historical movement emerged in the 19th century that attempts to reconcile Islamic faith with modernity. What? So this, this makes sense. How can that be if the Quran has never been changed? Because this is like a whole new thing at this point. Look what this says. This may refer to liberalism and progressivism within Islam. Yikes. It's okay. We have that in Christianity too. It's horrible. A broad range of philosophy and movement that attempt to reconcile Islamic faith with liberalism or progressivism. Yeah, that's we got that in Christianity too. But yeah, you're right. If it's never been changed, how do we have all of this? You said, didn't SNEAKO respond to What Do You Meme's video? Yep, we're gonna watch that right. I didn't know David Wood did a video, but once we're done with the David Wood video, we're definitely about to watch the SNEAKO one. It's the dawn of the alphabet Quran. Oh, that's going to be horrible. You know they're going to do it because they made the Queen James version, which was a joke. You know one of them's going to do the Quran, which, you know, good luck to them if they survive that, because we already know how that's about to be. Tyree says, and there's a lot of people who confidentially spout things that are incorrect. They just trust what they are told. There's a saying we use at work, trust but verify. Facts. There is a lot of people that just walk around saying whatever they hear. That is true. I like that. Trust but verify. That's like, your job actually made a really good saying. I feel like that needs to be chanted across social media so people could just stop being like, oh, I read such and such. It's like, that's not true though.
Nico says,
in North Africa, there is a slightly different text that is based on a slightly different reading.
Tech boy, welcome back.
Mostly corresponding to what we read in the rest of the world.
A different text?
There is a slightly different text.
That mostly corresponds to what other Muslims read?
Mostly corresponding to what we read in the rest of the world.
This isn't what SNEAKO's been saying at all.
And then, too, in some parts of Africa, there is another reading of the Quran and a matching manuscript that is prevalent. And here, too, we find some slight variations.
Still another version in other parts of Africa? With
Tech boy, you at the park? Boy, enjoy being outside. Touch the grass. Play some sports. Go fishing. I don't know what's at your park. I'm just tossing stuff up out there.
More variations?
And here, too, we find some slight variations.
Keep in mind, these are different Qurans that are still used in different parts of the world today. When we go to early manuscripts of the Quran, the problem becomes even more glaring. For instance, after describing the Sana manuscript, which contains tons of variants, Shabir says this.
This cuts away at the sense of complacency that many Muslims have gone around with, thinking that, okay, everything has been preserved dot for dot, letter for letter, the way it was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, with no variation or change whatsoever.
So, the Sana...
Hey, look what Tyree wrote. She said at least 13 different versions, and they believe their version is the true one. All other Qurans are heretical. Oh, that's crazy. That takes me back to the original position. Why lie and say it's never been changed when it has? If there's different versions, there's different versions. Just be honest. Such a weird thing to lie about that. This girl, oh, you talking to Tech Boy.
A manuscript refutes the absurd claim that the Quran has been perfectly preserved.
That it cuts at that general.
That is a good point. That is a good point. KJV only people are crazy. The main thing, and it's so wild, they'll be like, this is the one true version. If you look at any other translation, it's so different from this one. It's like, no, it's not. It's all saying the same crap. It's just, what do you want to read? What's going to be best retained in your brain? You know what I'm saying? Like earlier, Just a Girl was like, I prefer the NLT version. And I was like, hey, even though I read KJV, because of my testimony for church, just to keep it simple, I'm about to just read a version out of the NLT just because it's simpler and people could just comprehend it better in the audience. I'm not trying to sit there and hit them with Shakespeare. Like, that'd be so weird. You debated a KJV only flat earther kid. That's y'all know that the YouTuber I told y'all that got me into to Christianity. At one point he was KJV only and he was also flat earther. I don't know if he's still flat earther. I ain't been in that server forever, but that's why I laughed reading what you just said. Oh. You just call it a Bible crap? No. I'm talking about hitting the Shakespearean version and stuff. The best thing I've ever heard in response to them is, if you want the truest version, learn Hebrew. You know what's also funny about that? My sister-in-law, her father knows Greek and Hebrew. And when they told him that I wanted to learn it at one day to read the original like scrolls or whatever, he was just like, it's not necessary. Because he's already done it. This man's already lived that life. I mean, he's still living it, but you know what I'm saying. He didn't already learn the languages and read all the different, like, we're going all the way back to the originals. And he was like, you really don't need to learn it. Like, it's, when I tell you, it all says the same thing. It's just when we get to different translations, it's how we speak over the years, right? So for King James Version, we don't actually speak like that anymore. That's why most people today just use an NASB if you in America, because like that's how we talk. It's just that simple. It all says the same thing. It's all the same thing. If they were honest, they couldn't lead people astray. That's facts. That's facts. You mean Don? I don't think Don was ever really flat earth. I think it was just for the laughs. I hope so. Because that was a weird arc. That was a weird story arc for him. Man started playing the flat earth videos and was like, I think there's something to it. Look at this video. And you can literally see the bend in the video. I'm like, bruh, What is this? I think it is because one stream, somebody paid him 2 racks to watch that Flat Earth documentary. So he probably was just, that probably was for laughs. That probably was. Oh, you talking about the person you debated. I got you, Tech Boy. Because I'm like, huh? What am I reading right now?
Sense, which actually is not a scholarly way of thinking about the Quran. Our scholars have always known and have always described in our classical books variations and manuscripts.
Notice, Muslims.
Yo, we got to go back like 1 second. And it has nothing to do with what he said. My man, because he got the socks on. I don't know if y'all seen the Kanye pictures lately, but this how Kanye be walking outside now. Kanye don't wear shoes. He be rocking like black and blue socks. That's all that just reminded me of Kanye. That's all. You said Don was and is a lot of questionable things, but as far as I know, Flat Earth isn't one of them. Okay. All right. Hey, it could have been, like I said, because that person they dropped that $2,000 dono that one day and was like, watch this Flat Earth documentary. And I was like, you know, for 2 racks, I'd watch it too. Don't mean I got to agree with it, but I'd watch it for 2 racks. That would be the stream of that day. Are you talking about Young? Yeah, we're talking about Young Don.
Scholars have always known about different versions of the Quran.
Like, you know, it's read like this by Ubay ibn Ka'b, it's read like this by Ibn Masud and so on. And in the Codex of Ibn Masud, it was seen to be written like this. In the Codex of Ubay ibn Ka'b, it was seen to be written like this with this or that variation. So
for a book that supposedly has no variance, that sounds like a lot of variance.
These were always known in scholarly circles to have existed. But recently, average Muslims have just simply, without bothering to learn, they have just simply parroted a common way of speaking.
Oh, Tyree, he was like, I just realized I was 30 minutes behind. Oh, I didn't even know. What you was writing kind of flowed with the conversation.
About the Quran and saying, you know, it's 100% the way it's always been. And they cannot imagine any variation.
Average Muslims, without bothering to study, keep parroting the claim of perfect preservation.
Hey, I would do the same. You said you'd watch Hunter Avalon's entire catalog of videos for 2 racks just on mute. Hey, if I got to put it on mute, I would do the same thing. Trust. You said facts, the Holy Spirit wouldn't let me hear the end of it if I casually got 2 G's and then watched the video. Yeah, I'd feel bad. I'd be like, you know, I gotta watch it. I gotta watch it. You said, who's Hunter? Hunter started out as like a right-wing conservative, and now he's like a left-wing liberal. I'm not gonna lie. I think Hunter just says stuff to whoever paying the money. Or maybe not, because he has stayed on the lib side forever. Maybe not. I don't know. His viewpoints are very bad. He doesn't argue very well. He'll like half read an article and try to get you on it, and then if you be like, actually, if you read all of this, it says this, and then he'll just start calling you names and move to his next point. It's very weird. So hopefully I don't end up like Hunter. I hope you don't either. It was weird. He used to be I think he said he was like Catholic or something. He said he ended up getting anxiety really bad because he was always afraid of going to hell, which weirded me out because I'm like, bruh, if you're not doing nothing to be afraid of, why are you afraid of going to hell so bad? That's kind of weird. And he ended up going through therapy and getting on depression pills, which if you read the studies, I did an old video on this. Most of them are placebo pills. So he probably not even taking like an active one. It's probably just all in his head. And then, I don't know. He had that one weird debate with Young Don. Like Young Don was like, I think I'm going to be Christian now. And very next day, Hunter Avalon was like, I'll debate you. And it's like, how you going to debate somebody that just came into Christianity? This man is like 1 day in. That don't count. And at the very end of that debate, he denounced, Hunter denounced like God and the Holy Spirit, all that. It was weird. It was a weird way to end the stream. Like Don was so nice to him, Young Don. He was like, He's like, all right, man, well, it was nice talking to you. And I had a wonderful back and forth. Despite Hunter tripping the whole time, Young Don was still nice to him. At the very end, when Hunter gave his final thoughts, he was like, F this and F that and F Christianity is blah. And then he kicked Don off the call. And I'm like, bro, what? What was this? I'm like, this man is tripping. Who's Young Don? He's a Christian YouTuber, but he used to be like a animator. He actually just dropped a new animation, but it's about him. And it's, if we have time, we'll watch it because I watched it already, but we'll go through it.
Without bothering to learn, they have just simply parroted a common way of
Jorge's
speaking about
back.
the Quran and saying, it's 100% the way it's always been.
But where did they get?
Where you said you got 34 laps to go. That race about to be forever. You said he was probably Baptist. My biggest complaint with them is they believe that if you scare the heck out of someone, you'll scare them out of hell. I don't know. I mean, maybe. I thought he was Catholic because the way he was tripping so hard. But maybe he was. I don't know. His whole story was weird on how he went from one point to the next. That it was just a very weird way of becoming an atheist. They're the ones who send out. Oh, I know what that is. We talked about that before on my channel. It wasn't. I don't think it was you at the time that mentioned that though. It was it was Kyle. Kyle mentioned this before. Now I think back, I don't even know if it was on channel. It might have been on his channel when we were talking about it. I read you would rather scare someone into heaven than lull them into hell. Scaring people, most atheists, they're not afraid of hell, so you're not scaring them into anything. Though, to be real with you, they're not gonna care. They have to truly want to change to come over into Christianity. That's all that is. They have to truly want to come over into it. No matter what you tell them, it's not gonna matter unless they feel it in their heart. That's just. And this is coming from someone who used to be atheist. That's all that really is. He probably wasn't deep into theology. I agree with that. Because most people, he was like, well, I grew up in the church and blah, blah, blah. And it's that don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing. So you're right. He probably wasn't deep into it. Tech Boy, you said you scared of hell? Tech Boy, you also scared of getting shot. And you said you would denounce... What did you say? You said you would denounce Jesus if the person with the gun on you. I don't know what's going on with you. You gotta work all that out. You gotta work all that out. Carson Lucas, hi, what's going on? Welcome to the stream from the Twitch side of things. Oh, you follow me. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Yeah, Christianity is a choice by design. Yeah. Rap Night says, sounds like a Catholic upbringing to me, meaning he was never really in the faith to begin with, so scaring people into heaven doesn't work. Yeah, most people who grow up in the church ain't really like that. That's why I find it interesting, the Christian Discord I'm in, most of them are younger, so they're high school or college kids, most of them. The fact that they're in the church, but they're in the church, their understanding of the Bible is amazing. The way they practice their faith and they talk to each other throughout the day and lean on each other when they're having issues and problems. I love it. I even told them, I was like, I wish I can go back in time and start over and be like y'all. But things happen for a reason, right? It was meant for me to do this now, but it's just amazing to me because I told you, most people who come up in the church, they'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm Christian. They'll go once a week with their family and then live their whole life like an average, they don't live Christian, right? These kids, they walk it like they talk it. I'm just like, wow, y'all are amazing. Y'all are great. You said, what Discord is this? It's the one I'm in, Tech Boy. I'll share the link with you. You have to apply to get in. And they started charging now, but what the owner does, because I think the top tier is $7 a month. I think that's what I'm paying. What she does is she has speakers come in every week, and then she has game nights and stuff, and she gives the money back to like the community with contests and everything. So ain't nothing really going in that person's pocket. It's going right back out to the people. Cause she actually she donated to the backpack drive. So all that money just going back out to everybody, which is amazing. We are to, oh, you talking to Tech Boy. I'm sorry. Oh, Jorge was talking about the race. Okay.
Get the idea that they keep parroting.
There has never been two copies of the Quran that are different even in one letter or one word.
From their scholars, the same scholars who have always known about textual variants and different versions of the Quran.
Our scholars have always known and have always described in our classical books variations and manuscripts. These were always known in scholarly circles to have existed.
Quick question for you Muslims who are watching. What would it take for you to realize that your scholars are liars who say one thing when they're talking to other scholars and say something completely different to you?
Shots fired.
Your scholars know about the different versions of the Quran among Muhammad's companions. They know about different Qurans in different parts of the world today. They know about textual variants, but they tell you perfect preservation right down to the letter. They're lying, right? I mean, obviously. They're obviously lying. Another quick...
You said Catholics don't scare people into heaven. Hold on, we didn't say that. Oh, Jorge, you missed a lot. We were talking about Hunter Avallone. We weren't talking about like Catholics as a whole. We was talking about his upbringing. Which, this is something I wish I would have been, all this would have been working last week. There is something I did want to ask you and Nikki and John. Who else in here is Catholic? I can't remember right now. There's something I wanted to ask y'all. There's this girl that's getting baptized. Hold on, let me change this. There's this girl in my class that's also getting baptized. And she was telling us that her upbringing was Catholic. But whoever raised her, it didn't sound like there was any catechism going on in her household. And however they raised her, she was very nervous about like losing salvation over like every little thing. And she had it was something about always having to repent like nonstop, and like you always gonna lose your salvation if you do like certain things wrong or whatnot. And I guess she got tired of living her life like that. That's how she ended up like at the church I go to. So she's not Catholic anymore. But I wanted to ask y'all about that because she was also saying whatever church and upbringing she had, she said they were not allowed to read the Bible. And this threw me off because she's not the first one I heard that from. But I was so curious because like knowing all of y'all and all the other Catholics like Kyle and everybody in his Discord server, y'all know the Bible like the back of y'all hand. So I was so confused about her upbringing when she was explaining it, but she's not the first person to explain that type of upbringing to me that claimed they were Catholic. So I'm like, is there, I understand the churches, according to Roxy and y'all, the churches are essentially the same. So like, how do we end up with her having that like upbringing where she's just like, you're not allowed to read the Bible and you always gonna go to hell for a certain reason? How does it get to that point? Because I was so thrown off when she was talking. She had like a lot of anxiety and I felt bad for her. I'm happy now because like she seems cool now when we got to talking. But she did have a lot of anxiety. You heard it too, Rap Night? Yeah, Rap Night said I've heard that from a number of Catholics actually, more like they're not encouraged to. That's crazy. Cause like all the ones I know, like they be reading their Bibles and they be knowing verses off the top of their heads and all that. That's why I'd be so thrown off when I hear those stories. You said bad catechism? Is it really just that? Could it also be like a bad church or something? No, I don't think he means it's all Catholics. I think he said he heard from a number of them as well. Because I've been hearing a few stories too, and it just confuses me considering, like, I know y'all. And I know the people, like, in Kyle's server, and they don't, it's like night and day. You know what I'm saying? I was so thrown off when I heard her story. Oh, okay. Bad church equals bad catechism. Okay. That's wild. That's wild. I hope, well, she's doing fine now, but like, it was just a weird story to hear. Cause I think, what was it, when I used to do videos and I would like address the comments? I remember one of them, Deborah said she knew somebody, and cause she older than us. That's the first time I heard that, cause Deborah was like, somebody said, she was like, a Catholic I know said they can't read the Bible. And I was like, no, that's a lie, cause I know all y'all. Then I've been hearing people say that since then. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Y'all can read the Bible.
Quick question. Why doesn't it bother you at all when your scholars lie to you? If I caught a Christian scholar blatantly lying, I don't mean getting something wrong or making a mistake. I mean lying. I would have a really, really big problem with that Christian scholar. So would other Christians. We wouldn't trust him anymore. We wouldn't take it. But in Islam, lying seems to be an ordinary part of being a scholar. And scholars who lie face no consequences whatsoever from their students, and this encourages more lying.
Facts. Hold on, Tyree said, hold on, let me get out. I didn't know that was still up. Whoa, I was bringing a lot of stuff up. Hold on. Hebrews 10. You said 19 to 39. A call to persevere in faith. And that is 19 to 39? Okay. So a call to persevere in faith. Therefore, brothers and sisters, since we have confidence to enter the most holy place by the blood of Jesus, by a new and living way opened for us through the curtain that is his body. And since we have a great priest over the house of God, let us draw near to God with a sincere heart and with the full assurance that faith brings, having our hearts sprinkled to cleanse us from a guilty conscience and having our bodies washed with pure water. Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful. And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. If we deliberately keep on sinning after we have received the knowledge of truth, no sacrifice for sins is left, but only a fearful expectation of judgment and of raging fire that will consume the enemies of God. Anyone who rejected the law of Moses died without mercy on the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. How much more severely do you think someone deserves to be punished who has trampled the Son of God underfoot, who has treated as an unholy thing the blood of the covenant that sanctified them, and who has insulted the Spirit of grace? For we know him who said, "It is mine to avenge, I will repay, and again the Lord will judge his people." It is a dreadful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. Remember those earlier days after you had received the light, when you endured in a great conflict full of suffering. Sometimes you were publicly exposed to insult and persecution. At other times, you stood side by side with those who were so treated. You suffered along with those in prison and joyfully accepted the confiscation of your property because you knew that you yourselves had better and lasting possessions. So do not throw away your confidence, it will be richly rewarded. You need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what he has promised. For in just a little while, he who is coming will come and will not delay. But my righteous one will live by faith, and I take no pleasure in the one who shrinks back. But we do not belong to those who shrink back and are destroyed, but to those who have faith and are saved. Facts. Facts. Basically, in a nutshell, stand 10 toes down in yours. That's all that's saying. That is all that's saying. All of it is summed up with this right here. All of it. Stand 10 toes down for your God. That's all this is. Also, I saw Rap Night posted something before I saw it, but I wanted to pull this up because I did want to read this first. So to go back, Rap Night said, not saying all, but that in particular is only something I hear from ex-Catholics as a reason as to why they left. So did they all go to bad churches? I don't know. I mean, Jorge did said bad catechism because catechism has to happen at home as well. Because he did say, he said, let me go back up. So bad catechism, so bad church equals bad catechism. That could be similar to a Protestant church. You know how we have like progressive Christian churches? That could be like the same thing. I'm just saying from my point of view. But I do think it needs to be taught at home regardless, because growing up outside of the prosperity stuff, I think that first church we went to was fine before we went to the prosperity churches. Even then, I still didn't know what Christianity was. So I think teaching should have started at home, and that never happened. But Jorge said there was a deacon who was invalidly baptizing people. Some of them became priests. It was found that because of this, they had to be rebaptized so they could officially serve their office. There's never a good reason to leave Catholic Church. You know, I mean, everybody has their reasons, though, for why they leave. Whether we agree with them or not, though. Think about it. When we watch the videos of the gay pastor, which I don't agree with, period, right? Why did he say he left church? Because they didn't accept my lifestyle. Obviously, bro. What did you think was going to happen? But he left and then came back to a progressive church, which, in my opinion, that's not a real church. That's not a real church. So if you're saying people was invalidly baptized or whatever's wrong with the priest doing, and then people had to get rebaptized, it's just a bad church. Look, Jorge stand, he's like, I'm 10 toes down. There's never a good reason to leave the Catholic Church, period. I don't think there's a good reason to leave Christianity, period. I'm gonna be real with you. It is the church established by Jesus Christ. It is the OG church, I'll give you that, based on church history. Just the girl said, for the brave soldiers for Jesus.
Does the true religion need that? Does the true...
You said, Jorge, those are fighting words? I mean, technically, if you want to look at church history, the Catholics are the OGs, technically. So, I mean, now where things went from there to where we are today is like a whole other thing. But they the OG church, bruh. You can't really fight for that. You can't fight him over that.
Religion needs scholars to lie for
the
it.
Eva in me? The what?
You'll recall Shabir saying that Muslims parrot the claim that the Quran has been perfectly preserved without bothering to study.
Oh, that's a
but
song.
Recently, average Muslims have just simply, without bothering to learn, they have just simply parroted a common way of speaking about the Quran and saying, you know, it's 100% the way it's always been.
What would happen if, instead of mindlessly repeating the lie about perfect preservation, Muslims instead did a little research? If Muslims bothered to do a little research, they would find that, according to Muslim sources, entire chapters of the Quran were lost because Muhammad's companions were too lazy to recite them.
Keep this tab open.
They would find that hundreds of verses were lost from other chapters because the only Muslims who had them memorized died in battle, or because the only copy was eaten by a sheep. They would find that Muhammad's top reciters of the Quran couldn't even agree on which chapters were supposed to be in the Quran. Muhammad's companion Ibn Masud said that there are supposed to be 111 chapters in the Quran. Muhammad's companion Ubay ibn Ka'b said that there are supposed to be 116 chapters in the Quran. The Quran today has 114 chapters. Muslims who do some basic research would find that Uthman, the third of the rightly guided caliphs, had to burn piles of Qurans to cover up all the differences. And they would find that even now, different manuscripts of the Quran are filled with textual variants, and that Muslims in different parts of the world use different Qurans. But the average Muslim doesn't know any of this, because he only listens to lying scholars and dawagandists, people who think that lying is perfectly acceptable as long as the lying helps win more converts. So, our friend SNEAKO bought the lies.
You know what book has never been manipulated? You know what book has no 30 different versions of it? The Quran. Stay consistent for 1400 years. But the original text of the Quran has never been tampered with.
Bro, we saw this.
Manipulated.
The only question is whether the lying will bother him at all once it's been exposed.
Oh, that's
Even
basically
as
what
you're
I said.
watching this, dawagandists are conditioning SNEAKO to only believe what they say. In a sane world, SNEAKO would hear a Muslim scholar claim that the Quran has been perfectly preserved. Then SNEAKO would do a few minutes of research, which is really all it takes to debunk the myth of perfect preservation. Then SNEAKO would say to himself, you know, Sneakster, if they lied to you about this, what else did they lie to you about?
I mean...
And once he figured out that he...
That's basically what I said. I was like, if you're new and you take it for what it says, sure, right? But once you start reading and researching, you question that. I couldn't trust them after that. I'm gonna be real with you. I'll be like, bro, why did you lie to me? Because now I don't want to believe anything else you said. That would get me to leave the religion before anything. Michelle, I'll check in later if you're streaming 20. All right, Jorge. I'll see you in a little bit because probably. Probably. I don't know when I'm getting off. I'll see you in a little bit, bro. It makes me glad that Judaism discourages converts. Yeah, it's hard to, if you want to convert over into Judaism, they make that hard. So that's like a whole thing. And it's crazy because, like, y'all know how I told you I grew up in a Jewish Baptist household. Y'all know I had, like, growing up, once I hit a certain age, I had Jewish people tell me I wasn't really Jewish because you supposed to, like, be born from your mother, right? But my dad was Jewish. So I'd be like, oh, no, it's my dad. My dad's Jewish. Oh, so you're not really Jewish then? It's like, how you gonna tell me what I am? Like, I don't care how it's supposed to be. I'm Jewish. I used to get so mad.
So, as you just...
I would get so mad when they would say that. But, all right. SNEAKO, this is his response video. I guess he's only reacting to John, I guess. I don't really know. I think he left already, Rap Night. Oh, you said it took a while to... Yeah. Oh, no, Jorge's still here. Well, that's between y'all at this point. They believe that it's easier to get into heaven as not a Jew. Wait, what? Hold on. What did I miss? Oh, okay. I get what you're saying, Just a Girl. I get what you're saying.
Heard. SNEAKO rejects the credibility.
Bro, what type of Oblin Preach Christian channel is this, man? Do you see
what?
The selective editing here? I went and explained exactly what the Council of Nicaea was in that debate, and he completely clips it out because there's silence, and then to his viewers, he's like, whoa, he was quiet for 3 seconds. Debunked? Silence doesn't mean debunked. That means that we're figuring things out and having a convo. What the fuck? Because you got...
All right, also, because we just went from 2 Christian channels to SNEAKO, y'all probably gonna hear some cursing like we just heard. I forgot to put that warning out there. My bad, y'all. Because like SNEAKO does curse from time to time, so you might hear some swear words. If that bothers you, I would leave for a couple minutes.
You guys hate when I scroll in Discord, right? Type of one of you hate when I scroll in Discord. Do we want to get into religion right now? Yo, you ready to box this weekend? I'm gonna be in Miami tomorrow. Okay, so don't use the Rumble bands to go talk to me directly.
Now, the famous influencer SNEAKO.
Oh, here we go. We can watch this. SNEAKO's arguments against Christianity. Popular influencer SNEAKO, but they can't say Rumbler. Just say Rumbler. Just say Rumbler. No.
I mean, just to be fair, everybody knows you're on Rumble though, so who cares? Does it matter that much? I mean, you are an influencer at the end of the day.
No, okay, fine.
Has been consistently giving everyone 5 reasons for why he recently embraced Islam and why he rejects Christianity. Now, there's a lot of people who are saying that he only converted to Islam.
You say you don't have a good point if you can't make it without cussing. Because I used to cuss like a sailor, but I used to make some good points. So I was just, peppering my statements with it. But I agree to a certain extent. You shouldn't be cussing all the time to prove a point, though. But I can't fault him for it. That was a hard habit for me to break. And funny enough, I didn't break it until I became Christian. I broke it pretty fast, too. Like, the day I was like, I'm Christian now. Weirdly, I stopped cussing. So I don't know.
Islam because Andrew Tate did, but I personally don't know the man's motives and won't jump to any conclusions.
Rumble is terrible.
However,
it's getting better,
if
Tech
he
Boy.
is being sincere in the reasons that he gives, then we should expect for SNEAKO to leave Islam and embrace Christianity by the time that he's done watching this video. The reason why is because the 5 reasons that he gives, if he wants to be consistent, are the very things that should actually
We got 4K, or is it going to be laggy?
Cause him to reject Islam and instead become a Christian. So, don't believe me? I'll prove it. Let's start with his first reason.
Okay. Why I resonate with Islam, why it makes sense for me, because it's weird. It doesn't make sense to me to pray to a man. I don't want to submit to a man. The only person that we should submit to and that we should pray to should be the one creator of the universe, which is Allah. He created the universe and we love him for it. Perfect. It makes the most sense to me.
So as you just heard, SNEAKO doesn't like the idea of submitting to a man and therefore decided to reject Christianity and to embrace Islam. But unfortunately,
there are a lot of reasons. That wasn't the reason that I reverted to Islam, but that's the reason why Christianity never resonated with me, really.
If SNEAKO really does have a problem with submitting to a man, then he should reject Islam. The reason why is because, according to the Quran, SNEAKO is actually commanded to submit to Muhammad, who's a man. So if this is a real reason for why SNEAKO
But you don't pray to Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Rejects Christianity, then he should also reject Islam. But what's even more interesting is the reason that he gives for why he thinks that he should only worship Allah. He said that he only wants to worship Allah because Allah is God, Allah is the creator of the universe, and therefore we should love him for it. But ironically, in Christianity, Jesus is God. He created the entire universe. So why does SNEAKO have a problem with worshiping Jesus in Christianity? Well, the reason why is
because you say that a man is God. That's Christianity. And everybody in the chat, bro, like, you don't pray to Muhammad. That's the whole point. That's the whole, peace be upon him. Like, you don't, of course we love him, but it's just that simple.
Because SNEAKO seems to have a problem with Jesus being both God and man.
Yes.
Fair enough. So for argument's sake, let's go ahead and say that Jesus isn't God and that he's only a man. So
what? Yo, Christians, you jacking that? That made no sense. Oh, no. That's the whole reason why Christianity didn't resonate with me. And then you're going to say, for argument's sake, that goes against the religion. Wait a second. Run that back. What?
Because SNEAKO seems to have a problem with Jesus being both God and man. Fair enough. So for argument's sake, let's go ahead and say that Jesus isn't God and that he's only a man. So
that's Islam.
Bruh, he's saying...